We have been working to get reaction from your lawmakers about what will happen tomorrow.
Political reporter Rick Albin continues our team coverage. Rick.
Well, some Republicans in the Senate and the House, as Alice just said, will object to certifying the electoral vote. At least 3 West Michigan members say they will not. Yesterday, Lakeshore Congressman Bill Heisinger essentially said he didn't think the federal government could overturn an election conducted by a state. Today, 2 of his colleagues say they too will stay hands off on changing the electoral outcome. First, freshman Peter Meyer from the 3rd District, who has been in his Capitol Hill office bare scant hours before having to take some momentous votes. He says he will vote to affirm the electors and consequently Joe Biden's victory. I asked him about that process tomorrow. The kind of demonstration that we'll see tomorrow with a number of high-profile members over in the Senate and a bunch of House members arguing against this process, does that undermine the credibility of elections in this country?
You know, I'm concerned about the protests. Obviously, everyone has a First Amendment right to demonstrate. Where I am deeply concerned is that even in the world where every single Republican signed on to this effort in both the House and the Senate, it would still fail, because Democrats control the House. This is not an effort that we can expect to succeed. This is not an effort that would succeed if there was complete, unanimity among Republicans. That means this is theater. This is all done. This is a fundraising effort. Folks are making hundreds of millions of dollars in fundraising off of this effort. And then they're taking advantage of folks' hearts. They're taking advantage of their minds. They're taking advantage of their wallets. And that deeply troubles me. I'm really worried about the perception or the potential for violence tomorrow. I hope that cooler heads prevail. I pray that it remains peaceful. But we really need to ensure that we are accurately speaking about what the government's role is, accurately speaking about what the law is, and not just creating these scenarios where we can try to pretend that the world is anything other than what it is.
I've talked to one of the newest members of the Michigan congressional delegation in the form of Peter Meyer, who is heading into this remarkable circumstance on Wednesday that nobody, I think, serving has really seen. You've been in Washington for a good long while. I assume you have seen nothing like the challenges that we're going to see to the Electoral College tomorrow.
Well, you're right on. I mean, I can remember some early Congresses with some pretty big votes. Literally the first week, the vote on the Iraq War back in '93, but nothing. We've never had anything like this. And we also all know what the result's going to be, because remember, to overturn it, not only would you have to overturn a majority of states to take away from Biden's 306, but you also have to pass it in both the House and the Senate. And it's not going to be close in either body.
Now, that process will begin tomorrow afternoon, but Upton, a longtime legislator, says he expects the debate to go into the night and not be wrapped up until perhaps Thursday afternoon. In the meantime, Michigan Congressman Bergman and Wahlberg will object to some of the electors in what is likely to be one of the final acts in one of the most unusual and tumultuous election cycles in memory. Sue.
That's for sure. Rick, thank you.